Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Friday, January 16th, 2026. After a single-car collision in Yucca Valley, a mother and son were both arrested for investigation into obstructing deputies. On Tuesday at around 4 p.m., San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a collision in the 2200 block of Sage Avenue. A deputy arrived and said that Jasmine Jones, a 38-year-old resident of Joshua Tree, was the driver of a Chevy Silverado that was involved in a single-car collision. The deputy says that Jones requested medical attention. The deputy says that a second vehicle then arrived at the scene. The driver was identified by the Sheriff's Department as Noah Hall, a 19-year-old resident of Yucca Valley, and Jones's son. The Sheriff's Department says that Hall began arguing with the deputy, and then Jones started physically fighting with the deputy. Both Jones and Hall were taken into custody. Jasmine Jones was arrested for investigation into obstructing an executive officer. The Sheriff's Department says she was medically cleared before being booked into the Morongo Basin Jail. She has since been released on bail. Noah Hall was cited for investigation into obstruction and released at the scene of the collision. Calling all Wonder Valley residents. A community meeting that hasn't taken place since the pandemic is returning this weekend. Wonder Valley Wanderer Robert Hayden has the lowdown.
The Friends of the Wonder Valley are returning to the Wonder Valley Community Center this Sunday at 1 p.m. for their first community meeting since COVID. On the draft agenda for the meeting, some housekeeping such as introductions and discussion of meeting frequency and times is expected, and the community is invited to suggest items to place on the next meeting's agenda. They will also be evaluating the community's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, commonly known as a SWOT analysis exercise. Those items, along with community comments and announcements, are expected for the first meeting, though the agenda is subject to change beforehand. Everyone is welcome to attend and participate. That's taking place this Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Wonder Valley Community Center, located at 80526 Amboy Road. Get on Amboy and point your car east. If you've hit Arizona, you've gone too far. We'll have a link to the Friends of the Wonder Valley mailing list at this story on our website, Z107.7FM.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
On last week's episode of the Z107.7 Up Close show, host Gary Digneau spoke with Yucca Valley Mayor Merle Abel and Town Manager Curtis Giacomo about the town's animal shelter. Run in coordination with the County of San Bernardino, the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter faced intense scrutiny over 2025. Former animal shelter manager Doug Smith retired, and a new manager, Cheyenne May, took over toward the end of the year. Abel and Giacomo discussed the controversy and delivered a positive statistic about the facility.
So what happened to bring so much attention to the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter?
I think in short, it was a heart for the care and compassion of animals by the community. Obviously, certain members of the community were very, very vocal in coming to the town, asking for the town to look at basically our live release rate, identify areas of weaknesses that we had in the shelter in being able to provide high levels of live release, and in, I guess, 2 words, do better. And so that's what that message was to the town council, to begin to look at it.
So the constituents came to the town and said, do better.
Yeah, absolutely. And really encouraged me, because we oftentimes talk about, or we feel like there's a lot of apathy out there. People don't care. They're not involved, and so forth.
Until
and so
you've got animals involved.
Right. So it was a challenge, but it was also enlightening that, we're not apathetic. We are, if there is an issue, the community lets us know. And I think everyone would agree that the facility is going to be better, is already better, and will be better in the future because of the input from the community, and also the willingness for the council to make the policy changes that were necessary.
And to that extent, we just finished our statistics for 2025. We hit a live release rate of 70%, and that is the highest that we've ever had since the shelter was constructed over 10 years ago. And so that's just an accomplishment that is reflective of the passion and the care for our entire shelter team. the work that they do day in and day out, taking care of the animals, and also to the public for their encouragement and desire to see improvements at the shelter. And
you can hear their full conversation by listening to the Z107.7 Up Close show as a podcast at our website, Z107.7FM.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. With all the rain we've received this season, our landscapes are already becoming weed-ridden, threatening the well-being of our native plants and creating higher risks in the fire season. If you don't have your own weeds to pull, reporter Gabriel Hart offers 2 options to help tend to the land this Saturday.
On Saturday, January 17th from 9 a.m. to noon, the NALC will be holding a weed pulling gathering in Coyote Hole east of Park Boulevard in Joshua Tree. The NALC says, quote, while recent rains brought many blooms, they also brought Sahara mustard, tansy mustard, and lots of Mediterranean grass. Come to see the bluebells, but stay to clear the way for more of them. Weeds compete with native wildflowers for nutrients and can quickly outnumber them as well as other plants preferred by pollinators and animals, so it's important to keep them at bay, unquote. Reach out to programs at nativeamericanland.org to sign up or get more info. Also on Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m., Morongo Valley's Big Morongo Canyon Preserve will be holding a weed pulling party. The preserve says the ground is still moist so weeds will be easy to pull, and they will be focusing on the high volume of weeds on Desert Willow and Yucca Ridge trails. Both events recommend wearing appropriate shoes and clothes, including gloves. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Gabriel Hart.
And finally, the Yucca Valley High School boys Trojan soccer teams competed with determination and resilience, but ultimately lost their matches to Indio High School. The junior varsity Trojans fell 5-1. Goalkeeper Elias Godoy was named by coaches as player of the match after an outstanding performance that included a crucial penalty kick save. The varsity squad faced a strong Indio team and fell 3-0 in a hard-fought match. Coach George Rodriguez said Michael Segura set the tone with his fight and leadership. The Trojans now shift their focus to a home matchup today against Coachella Valley. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.